Okay, there we go. Sorry, y'all. Technical difficulties in hot mess mornings. I'm still going to claim it as Saturday morning. But thank you for joining us. We are live in our Facebook group, on Twitter, and on the BLM page. So definitely check that out. We're also live on Twitter, to YouTube link in just a second. My name is Chanel Helm. I'm the strategic core organizer with Black Lives Matter Louisville. So that means I'm supporting folks on our teams and in our build out this for liberation and abolition, which we've decided to start this series. And just education purposes in this moment, we had a big letter, and man, Lord, my Wi-Fi is messed up. I'm using a hot. It's just hot mess mornings. I'm going to claim it's morning. So people jammed out all over the world and entered into the streets against oppression. And so we're here holding up what that pedagogy means and moving that work so that folks can get it, understand it, and be able to use it when they fight back, but particularly folks that we use in our bailouts. Gonna start with our intros. We got Shelton, Jess, Miss Michelle, and that's what I'm thinking. Go ahead, Shelton. Can you hear?
Yeah, I can hear. Can everyone hear me clear? Cool. Yeah, thank you, Chanel. And as Chanel mentioned, Wi-Fi is kind of spotty, so if I break up, any of my fellow organizers feel like jumping in, please feel free. I'm honored to be part of this team, one of the organizers with Louisville Community Bail Fund. Chanel Helm envisioned a world that a lot of us, still are really perplexed to imagine. That's why when you see the term abolition, some people would think that's a hyperbolic term. We think about and associate abolition with the abolition of enslavement of Black people. And I'd like to beg you to reconsider that being a hyperbolic term and instead open up your mind unfetteredly so that you could actually envision a world where we do not incarcerate people. And from our point of view as Louisville Community Bail Fund, initially we're talking pretrial incarceration. However, we have a broader vision of abolition. But just for the purposes of this conversation, I'm going to keep my points to abolition of the pretrial incarceration system. And I'm going to try to really formulate that we have a constitutional right that would assume innocence until proven guilty. And if you hold true to that belief, then you could simply see that pretrial incarceration is counter to innocence until proven guilty. And so, the Louisville Community Bail Fund has a deep commitment to the freedom of people of pretrial, and that everyone should actually have a right to participate in their defense. And every action that the Louisville Community Bail Fund takes is an action toward abolition of the entire pretrial justice system. What do we see in place of that system? One of my colleagues, Jess, will go into detail about the supports that we offer people. and we envision a world where people get their needs met instead of incarceration. And I'll pause it right there and pass the mic. Thank you.
Thanks, Shelton. This is Jess. I am with the support team for the Louisville Community Bail Fund, the HG. So the support team does just that. We support people pre-trial and even during trial and after trial. We get in contact with people to see what their needs are. We allow them to tell their story and to name their needs. I think that as Shelton said, that we're countering how things are typically done. So when you think of abolition, it's not just abolition of the justice system, but also the social service system that, runs alongside people who don't have access to their basic needs or who need access to community resources. So we're rethinking and reimagining how social work and how supports are done, allowing people to name what their needs are, asking inquisitive questions, and making sure that people have access to the information that they need so that they're as equipped as possible when they do go to their court appointments. So that can range from identifying someone who does not have a high school diploma and making sure that they have access to adult basic education if they need it, to making sure that people have transportation assistance. And that could be in the form of getting them signed up for long-term public transportation, seeing if they qualify for, any Medicaid waivers to cover transportation, or even using Lyft codes to make sure that they can get back and forth to those critical appointments. So just eliminating those barriers, but also making sure that people understand where their barriers are and where those barriers came from inside of the framework for abolition. Right now, we are working on building out an app so that not only the support team, so that the entire team and the community even can have access to some of these resources, and so that we can streamline some of these things. If you ever worked in social work, then you know that the bureaucracy and the red tape can really keep people from engaging services. So we're seeking to eliminate those services as well. We always need volunteers. There's a high demand, as you can imagine, because of the uprisings, because of COVID. There's a high demand for the things that we do. So we're always in need of support. We'll be working on development and community outreach so that we can make sure that our hotline is staffed, so we can make sure that we have bail runners, and we can make sure that we have people ultimately who are committed to serving community. And I know Shelton was going to offer some first-person narrative about what support was needed, what support looks like for people who are engaging it on the other end.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks, Jess. So I think, the term support is complicated. And to kind of narrow in on it, people like Jess, everybody on this call, actually, like when we field a phone call from the hotline, the moment someone's loved one gets a hold of us, the moment someone who's incarcerated gets a hold of us, immediately we start thinking about support, right? Like, okay, who is this person that you're calling about? This is well before we've posted bail. This is the first thing we start thinking about. This actually colors our decision whether or not we're going to be able and capable to post bail. And so, and I think about like the naysayers of the folks that don't agree with our work. Prosecutors, county attorneys, people oftentimes are critical about the work that we do because they can't envision a world with abolition of pretrial incarceration, much less abolition of all incarceration. But they don't think that we're being as critical in examining each and every single person that we act on their behalf. But we're being extremely critical from the moment we get the very first phone call till throughout the whole entire process, as Jess mentioned, even while people are going to court, going to trial. I mean, whether it's providing transportation to and from court, whether it's connecting people with employment, a meal, picking them up when they're released from jail, connecting them to mental health services, hosting retreats where we gather people together to nurture one another and heal from the impact of post-traumatic slave syndrome and the trauma induced on people that are in incarcerated cages. Right now you have to take into consideration, we're in the middle of a pandemic. In the state of Kentucky, the Warren County Jail, 250 incarcerated people have coronavirus. 20 guards have coronavirus. I mean, the state of Kentucky, the jail in Louisville, they are creating mortuaries, death, hotbeds of death and destruction of innocent until proven people that are sitting in cages with the coronavirus flaming through those cells, burning people's lungs and taking people's lives. So to criticize us and imagine that the work that we're doing is not a critical examination of needs and a critical understanding of how to support those people is really oxymoronic. I mean, to have county attorneys and prosecuting attorneys and people call us on the carpet to ask us what are we doing, posting bail on behalf of someone, when in fact the broader question should be, what are you all doing in jeopardizing the lives of thousands and thousands of people daily, right? And so our work is to identify. We believe that if you replace incarceration with supports, then the United States of America will reduce its footprint in being the leading incarcerator of human beings in the whole entire globe, right? So the idea of what is a support? Support is everything, right? Sometimes there's relationships that Jess and Rebecca and Missy and people have with clients and folks that are incarcerated coming out that are just as basic as, hey man, I'm here for you. I was on the phone last night, New Year's Eve, from 11:30 until 12:30 with a father whose son, we acted on his behalf. That's support. I'm not even talking to the son who was released. I'm talking to the father, right? And it's not a systematic social work approach, right? And I'm going to say these things and not to denigrate the concept of social work, but I do want to emphasize and highlight that social work, like much everything that happened in America, was rooted on behalf of white people and white supremacy. The origins of social work, the whole house, those places did not support Black people, right? Let's just get that out there, right? And so our work is radical social work. Our work is social work from the perspective of what you would see African sages do in community. It's about family. It's about pulling people in and engaging people. You never hear us refer to people as if we're talking to someone outside of our own base, right? The folks that we bail out, they're our cousins, they're our community, they're our loved ones. And that's what support is, right? How would I support my cousins, my community, my loved ones? By being there. And it's universal support. There will be people that will criticize and say we hold hands, and we're actually proud of holding people's hands. People need their hands held. We're in the midst of a pandemic that's killed 800,000 people in the United States alone. The state of California is on the verge of falling off the continent with the scourge of coronavirus. I mentioned Warren County Jail, a jail that maximum holds 300 people. 250 people have contracted coronavirus and 20 guards, right? So support is this thing that it's really caring. It's what you would replace incarceration with. Why are people coming into contact with law enforcement? There's lots of reasons. One of them are over policing of communities. On any given Friday or Saturday, law enforcement has two options of where they can go do drug searches. They can either go to their closest college campus and search for drugs, or they can go to the Black low-end communities. We know which one's politically correct and which ones they do. But it doesn't mean that the same behaviors aren't happening anywhere in the city of Louisville. So we know that policing is designed to destroy Black communities. So the work that we do is in rebuilding the Black folk that are being attacked by this racist policing system. And so those supports are, hey, we're here for you, first of all. But then we're connecting people to employment, connecting people to higher education, helping them get their GEDs. So I could go on and on. I'm going to pause it and let other colleagues share. Thank you, Jess.
Before we talk about the development end and what community looks like, I'd like to just touch on what Shelton said and just kind of affirm that abolition work is transformative work. It's transformative justice work. I'm reading We Will Not Cancel Us by Adrienne Marie Brown. And in it, she talks about how restorative justice work doesn't necessarily address the root of the harm. You know, if I take something from a store so that I can have a resource and barter with that resource for a meal, and I return that item to the store and I apologize and I make restitution to the store, it doesn't address the fact that I'm still hungry and that I have a lack, that there is a lack of access to resources in my life. So abolition requires us to move into transformative justice, where we look at the systems of harm and we address those harms. That's where we focus our energy. That's where we focus our, focus on dismantling, because at the root, it's the system that needs to change. And then as the system changes, we're also transforming the people who are having to engage the system.
Now, Missy Smith, if you want to detail how, one, you came into this work, what you're doing this work as well, but also what the future of this work has manifested for folks like you all, white folks.
Sure. Thank you, Chanel. So my name is Missy Smith, she, her. I came into this work years ago, 2 years ago, when my church, Highland Baptist Church in Louisville, our anti-racism team contacted Chanel looking for a way to get involved with the transformative bail work that we saw being done. And LCBF was in its formation in that point. And Chanel identified for us that there was a young man who was not yet 18, and had he turned 18 within the system was going to gobble him up. And our church banded together, gathered the bail that was needed for this person, and we walked alongside Chanel in the process of getting him bailed out, and then providing the support that Shelton and Jess have talked about, that looking at this person as a whole individual, what ways could we come alongside them and to provide the supports at all levels. So like Jess mentioned, transportation, and Jess mentioned getting, what other resources in the community are available for this person in their circumstances as an individual, and not just a number, not just another statistic, but a person. This person had individual and unique circumstances, and we wanted to speak into those. And a lot of it, like Shelton mentioned, was just loving on this person, being available when they called and they wanted to talk and they had fears and they felt like they were being swallowed up by a system that they had no control over. I mean, imagine for a second that you are 18 and you know that you have the entire system looking at you, and that system is big and powerful. And there's a lot of anxiety and fear in that. So sometimes it was just talking and texting with them, and really just learning what they needed and how to love them best based on what they told us, and not our whiteness, because we are a predominantly white church, and the anti-racism team is a group of white people who wanted to come along and love on this person, and had to learn to listen to them and not what our whiteness told us and our middle class systems, we had to listen to them and hear their values. And so through that, Chanel then invited me to help with the post-release supports when it came to, especially when the protest started, making sure that there were jail supports sitting outside and waiting for people as they were released, and getting those needs, again, individual, unique needs met: food, shelter, transportation, and did they have a phone? Could they even attend their, court appointments? These kinds of things, really loving on each person as an individual. And the thing that I'm excited to speak about is why this work is for everyone, including white people. The way that we look at this work as the white people who are involved is this is part of reparations, and reparations are so very important, and something that we speak about in our church constantly, and in this space constantly, that this is an act of reparation, and that we have so many places for people to plug in, that allows us to listen to Black leadership and sit under that Black leadership. And that's really, really important to us as well. But there are so many volunteer opportunities for white people, as for all people, but white people included, that if you are interested in getting involved, there's a number on the bottom of the screen that we would love for you to call, and we would love to get you plugged in.
Dope. I want to lift up also how Highland Baptist Church has been able to, one, take the transformative bail training, one created by the Movement for Black Lives. This work is done through a very visioned out initiative by Mary Hooks, former co-director of SONG, and now with M4BL, Southerners on the New Ground, queer, Black, and brown folks leading the way through change agent work around what it looks like to really build out bail disruption so that we can move a piece of work through our communities and into abolition. And this is one of them. In Money Bail not only is only disrupting the way that folks are seen and what support looks like, it is disrupting a system that has created capitalism by the enslavement of Black folks. Being in jail during the time that you were supposed to go to trial or hearing is enslavement protected by the 13th Amendment. This is the reason why the 13th is very much important to read. This is the reason why Michelle Alexander wrote The New Jim Crow, so we can talk about what hypercriminalization looks like and what that criminalization is under poverty crimes. So there is a set of crimes that have focused only on people who cannot have, and a lot of those crimes are very racially biased. So when we're looking at the numbers and we're looking at what it means to have a number on your head, know that those are people. And so becoming an abolitionist is really pushing you through a lot of barriers of what you think humanity is and how we represent humanity. Now, I know for some of us, there are people who do crimes and things that we just think, oh shit, you know what is coming towards people, but we really have to look at how deep embedded white supremacy is in our notion of violence, and how violence has always accommodated white supremacy in any way that we know it, including the world that exists right now. So I do want to lift up, we hear Shelton and other previously incarcerated folks really get proclaimed at the ways in which they want to come back and help their people do what it is that they need to do for their folks, just like anybody else. We do this in the words of Harriet. I got to freedom and I looked up and Lord and behold, there was nobody with me. She left with her brothers, but she also knew that she could bring other people along with her. What does it mean to reach back and go back and grab your folks and bring them to freedom? These are not words that I have to curate myself or any one of us on here. We have been gifted by wanting to fight back and looking into what this work actually means and carrying that work out. So when we go back and we reach back for those folks who are being incarcerated, who are in jail by bail, and listening to their stories, we're all listening to the situation in which they got there. No one is saying, oh, I didn't do it, as a lot of people would think. And I really think some people are very sick to only think that people who are arrested and we are bailing out are murderers and rapists. To think in a way of the utmost, most dangerous violence lets you know that white supremacy is doing its job. There are people in jail who are nonviolent offenders. People have stole things. People have just been in the compass of somebody else, or people have just been driving and got a suspended license or such. There are a lot more of those folks who are in jail. And we want to be clear, we're talking about jail, not prison. We do mean the abolition of both. So let's be clear about what it means to be an abolitionist and where we are. I want to I say all of that to proclaim that Highlands Baptist Church also has a very great reparations project. I do kind of feel like I need to perform like the YouTubers and stuff. Check into Highland Baptist Church if you are a white religious person and wondering how you can move reparations to your church. They have a robust understanding of practice and preaching, technically, of what they do. Their pastor there has been able to support the members and the other clergy and they're just supporting the parishioners at Highland and producing some very critical needs in this work. So when you're asking what work to do to show up, I suggest you just reach into Highland, get there through and jam out what is needed for your congregation. Know that congregations is where it's convenient. Michelle quick, and then we'll go to Rebecca because Rebecca is going to have a very long spill about what is happening at LCBF. But Rebecca, definitely tell about like how you got in this work and then what just manifested for you. I'm gonna be clear. I'm sorry, Michelle. Michelle got in here and just, you know, like how people do lots of questions. What? Now he's outside in the forest. I'm ignoring Shelton. He know he didn't came away from this house and barely got any Wi-Fi. Yeah, y'all know we petty. Oh, you can hear.
Can I tell about 2 stories of folks that are just like what you described real quick?
Oh shit. Okay, cool. And then we'll get to Michelle.
Okay. I just want to like really put an exclamation point on Chanel's point. Okay. Miss Ethel. Literally, Miss Ethel is sitting in front of the judge because she's accused. She's 65 years old, accused of violence against her boyfriend. Okay. The judge sets her bail at $5,000. Miss Ethel starts crying. Okay. Miss Ethel has a 4-year-old grandchild who she's the primary custodian of. For the 4 days that Miss Ethel was incarcerated, her grandbaby had to sleep on different people's couches. Miss Ethel lost her job. We bailed Miss Ethel out. 2 weeks later, she goes to court and the case is completely dismissed. Nobody put any of the stuff that was broken back together on behalf of Miss Ethel. Then I want to talk about a young lady who was a University of Louisville student who coming up in May, right before finals, was accused of stealing t-shirts from her roommate, which she had not done, was incarcerated during finals, missed a couple of her finals. The support that we had, the responsibility we had to do was to communicate to her professors. Once we bailed her out, her professors made it possible for her to take her final exam. Currently, she's back into her sophomore year, and the cases have been dismissed. So I just want you to know who actually, because I think we all think when we think of jail, we get these socialized ideas about who's in there. Myself, I was literally aged out of foster care at 18 years old. At 18 and 2 months later, homeless, broke into an ex-friend of mine's house to eat a sandwich, drank some wine and get out of the rain, was arrested, had a $500 bail that nobody could pay for me, and on a charge that held 1 to 5, the prosecutor was able to get me to plead guilty and take 4 years. And at 18 years old, my limited capacity told me that 4 years was better than 5. That is our current institution. That's the pretrial justice system as we know it. It's not these big boogeymen that we're so afraid of. Thank you.
Okay. Can y'all hear him?
I'm done, you all. I've finished.
I think we lost Michelle. She was going to jump in and talk about, oh, here she is.
Hi,
There we go.
yes, sorry.
Okay.
Had some technical
And then I
difficulties.
got folks here, so we can do that after Rebecca.
Do you want me to go ahead or are you talking, Rebecca? Okay. Hi, my name is Michelle, she, her. I got involved with Louisville Community Bail Fund, starting with the jail support team, immediate release team, and was able to offer support to people immediately coming out of the jails, just right away, offering a snack, friendly face, and just asking a few questions to see how we can further support and provide that ongoing support, you know, food, whatever other needs they may have, housing, getting to court, things like that. And have also moved into working with the data team. As calls come into the hotline, we're able to collect data and kind of fill in the blanks on court dates and charges and bonds. So the people who run bails can do their work, and the people who provide support can also have a head start on what they might need to do for folks as they're getting bailed out. And just want to speak a little bit too to say, is, you know, as white folks, it's sometimes, you know, everybody has a place where they come in or where they see the need, or they may not know necessarily how to help. It's easy to stick a sign in your front yard. Maybe for some people a little easy to offer some funds here and there, which is necessary and needed. But in order for folks to really be free, I think it's important that we educate ourselves and that we really listen to people's stories. You know, when we learn history in school, we kind of take for granted that what we're being taught is just how things happened. But we have to really go back and kind of re-educate ourselves and understand that there's another side to the story, and that we're not getting the full story on things. And you know, I as a white person have privilege that, you know, I have things that are available to me that, you know, because of the oppression and, you know, the work of other people. And it's my place to offer my support and my help to end that oppression. I have to recognize that I'm here because of work that other people did, whether they wanted to or not. And I have to offer my help and my support. And it's my turn to take some of that work and that effort. And I'm not perfect, and I'll continue to learn. But this is one way that I'm able to offer those reparations, to be in a place to help and to listen and to learn. So I'm happy to do so where I can. I don't know that I really have much else to say beyond that.
Awesome. I'll jump in and talk. I definitely am in this work for all the same reasons that have sort of been lifted up. And I find that my role in this work very specifically is to sort of hold tedious stuff that like allows Black leadership to vision and build in a way that they need to, and like those sort of the sausage is made for them and they don't have to deal with that. The dishes are made, you can just eat your dinner, right? Kind of thing. So that's where sort of I in my work within this. And I think for me, part of, I've done anti-racism work for many years now, and have always focused on how do I move white people and get white folks into the work. And a few years ago, I started diving into sort of what my personal family legacy is, and like where I come from. And I found that, shockingly enough, I come from a long history of white colonizers who did really terrible things, and that part of shifting that legacy of these like systems that like my ancestors built these systems with the intention of them benefiting me today, and they still benefit me today, right? So like I have to dismantle these systems directly that were my DNA built. So that's part of why I do abolition work, is because like the carceral state, the criminal justice state, the fucking court system, the court system, it all kind of stems from what white folks did when we came in and colonized America. And so those systems, like my family helped build, I want to help dismantle those systems. So that's why, as you see, I have a child, as you hear, so I want to make sure she knows that these systems are systems we have to dismantle. So that's sort of where I come in from this work, is that it's like a direct reparation for what my people did. And obviously give money to us, to bail fund, like our bail fund and other bail funds all around, and like leveraging what privilege and what legacy we have and what power we have inherited through our line. Okay, she's gonna say hello, you all. So
All right, Lord, these people are doing the utmost. But I do want to detail, like, one of the most significant things that we were able to do. Is getting dark quickly. We were able to secure a space that is going to help us send and support people's services, right? So a lot of what goes on and people are doing, we also know that there is no rehabilitation that takes place in jails or prisons. I think that is the biggest and the most historical, these things hurt my ears, the most historical thing around abolitionists is being able to name that a system was created to only punish people. A system was not created to fulfill the healing needs for those folks. It wasn't to invite ourselves into knowing who those folks are, as we heard Missy talk about mostly, and then like what Jess has been detailing us on, what are the needs and what is the scope of those needs for those people. What she's detailing you on is that the society is not built for this. Our societies have never been built for this. So I think about Richard Allen and all of those folks in Philadelphia. Few trips to Philadelphia, I make sure that I go to the African American History Museum, and it intros you to those folks who created the abolition movement. One that we know is right in line with Black liberation movement and where it has to be. We have to abolish the systems if we believe in Black liberation. The system is not here to create any type of pathway for us to name ourselves, for us to create a nation, for us to even do what self-determination actually means for ourselves and our bodies. And so while we get named Black nationalists, we are not a nationalist in the way that white supremacy wants us to be. We deserve the right to be able to be here. We also deserve the right to be able to be here for our folks any way that our folks can be. And so I name all of that because I've got a few of our folks out here. They've been doing work with us. Shelton came up with this way to do the things that need to be done. If we're looking at the housing team and we're talking about people's homes being in need of repair, we can do that, right? And luckily, over 250,000 people donated to us to do those things. In the height of uprising, people thought, oh, these folks are going to need the money to go ahead and bail people out, but it isn't only about bail. People give funds to community and freedom funds because they know that the support is a very vast nature of support. And for those that are Black ran, we are also doing work that keeps you from being in jail. So even entering into the jail system, we call those keep outs. We're also doing bail work that is talking about how people are getting there. Jefferson County does not have a bail issue. We don't have bail bondsmen, the whole state doesn't. We have a judge issue. We have judges who are issuing a type of criminal punishment on folks because they just think that it's okay and they are racist. And so those racist judges give people all different types of bails. I mean, people are inside of LMDC, Louisville Metro Corrections Department, organizing between each other. They are reaching, I'm on a live, girl. They are reaching in between the folks that are in their dorms with them, outside of their dorms, shouting this number out, not because, oh, I'm gonna get bailed out, I'm gonna be free, because they are being heard. They are being heard in the fact that they have someone next to them who has the same amount as bail as they do. So they're doing this political education while they're in jail. The same amount of bail as they do. And maybe that person has a more violent crime, or maybe this person has a less violent crime. And then there are folks that are there because they were either on home incarceration. Another piece of system that just takes the boundary of what police surveillance and terrorism looks like. Home incarceration is not an easy way out of a crime or a trial. You're not even at trial yet. Home incarceration is thank you. It's basically surveillance, and it's only surveillance. They know exactly where you are and where you aren't, just the same way that they do with your phone. Your phone is a very easy way to surveil any and everybody, so they know where people are and where people aren't. What they like to do is then terrorize folks that are on home incarceration by making them come in at all odd hours of the morning or night, being able to pull them off of their jobs and ripping them out of their homes. There isn't an easy way that people are just walking out of their homes. They are going in and snatching people up. That goes beyond your own natural needs to protect your body. So what we also knew we needed spaces to where we didn't have to answer folks' questions on whether somebody is safe or not to be in a space. We decided to purchase a farm with a lot of the funds that folks gave us. And we did so right in the heart of Louisville, and we're very thankful for that. We've been trying to get this place together for over a month. We've been able to test it out with our retreats, our working retreats. We had a LCBF retreat back in October and November for the folks that have already been doing this work and the folks that have been pulling up as folks of our bailout community members. And things have just been building out just really beautifully, right? People are on a property that is safe for them. 26 acres of, you just saw Shelton walking through the woods with their dog, everybody together claiming they were going to get shot by somebody. Who knows? I believe it, but I'm also like, can I have that sign? But just being able to just find peace of mind being here, and people just loving being here. One of the bailouts helping putting up the bedroom furniture that we finally got. But staying here just as long as they wanted to, because they know that they are safe. And safety is a large measure that a lot of Black folks just do not have. Abolition is about self-determination. It is about saying what is safe for us, what is security for us. And if I want that for my body, then I want that for the other folks that share my presence, but I also want that for my community. And so community bail funds and freedom funds make sure that they make a way and make a pathway for their folks. So we are very much proud of this space that, I mean, they are just visioning out. That's the reason why we was late today, you guys. They were coming up with new ways that they were going to hold retreat spaces for their folks. Tomorrow is one of the first bailout folks. So from that bailout community of our community of folks, they're going to hold their first retreat. And it's for people who've previously been on HIP, who then want to hold this same space for folks who are currently on HIP. So they've got like 10 main folks that they are ready to jam out with. I just think like it's just exciting. They are learning how to plan these spaces for their people, and people are really realizing some skill that may have been ignored by other folks. We know that our systems don't like to see the special talents that we have, and so we're thankful for them. I'm going to gather them. We've been trying to chase after this dog who's been breaking into my house. I keep telling the dog that he doesn't want to listen. But he did open up this doorknob, and so I'm getting ready to abolish his butt. But I'm going to go grab them. Oh, wait, here go Hakeem now. Oh, you want to go get him? I'm gonna go get him. You get ready to jump on here. And you can take my phone. The battery is good. But just introduce yourself.
Oh, okay. Okay. How y'all doing? I'm Hakeem. Can they hear me?
Yeah, everybody.
Okay. Alright, I'm a bit shy, y'all. I don't normally do this, but as far as what I do, it's actually just it keeps me busy. So I think the first thing I was doing was Feed the West with Chantrice. And then we end up getting food from Trader Joe's and what was it? I'm sorry, I'm nervous. And then she said it's on Twitter and all that. But it just gave me a way to get back to the community. And actually keeps me busy, give me something else to believe in, because I didn't do a lot of jail time, prison time, but I did a lot of, little jail time, and I'm so nervous. It's different. It's different, I can tell you, from what I'm used to. And so now they actually gave me the opportunity to orchestrate I'm sorry, hold on. Hey, can you get the other two guys? Tell them to get the other two guys. I got some other guys. See, they better at this than me. So I'm trying to see if they can come over and talk. It's not working. Yeah. Is that, yeah, I guess you can use that. But yeah, they gave me the opportunity to kind of like, I guess, host a retreat in a sense, I guess is what you could say. And it actually kind of challenged me, because I realized as much as I didn't know how to do the spreadsheets Michelle had sent me. I'm like, what is this? Like, but I mean, it actually challenged me. So now I know I have to learn that. What else? I don't know what to say. Y'all have any questions? I think I probably do a little better with that. They come. Oh yeah, they coming. They trying to hide from us. Yeah, they was. I've been trying to get them guys to come in, because I got one of my cousins. It's two of my cousins. Now one of them know how to do this. Like, he talks real good. Like, he knows how to do this. Not me. I'm not good at this. This ain't something I'm good at. Yeah, they coming though. You'll meet them soon. Where's David at? David. All right, yeah. Whoever's next. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. I'm gonna get it together though. It's just my first time. Like, here, David. Come here, David. Introduce yourself. Gerard. How y'all doing? Y'all see me? How y'all doing? What I say?
Just talk about, like I was just talking about earlier. Well, my name is Gerard McElroy.
How you get out here?
How'd I get out here? Oh, yeah, I just came from somewhere that don't nobody won't be at. But due through
Some shit that you didn't even do.
like you said, on something that I didn't even do, and I got charged with a whole bunch of stuff that I ain't have no type of connection with or nothing, but just off of the back of me being in an area, they charged me, locked me up with no type of probable cause, no type of nothing. You see what I'm saying? So
Force and hold you.
yeah,
Held you for months.
And see, look, my trial ain't till April, so by the grace of God and the people that love me the most, and everybody that's behind, with him, with the people, the bail fund, you know what I mean? So they came together and got me out because I was falsely accused of some stuff that I didn't even do. You know what I mean? And they looked into everything and they see it was a whole bunch of BS, So, but on the good side of it, I got to meet some wonderful people, just point me, helping me get in the right direction and get on track, so I won't be in no situation like that again. So yeah, staying busy, doing a whole lot of stuff that you're supposed to be certified for, but that's the truth though. You know what I mean? But I'm saying it's a beautiful feeling. Like I said, thank God and everybody that's that rode for me. And that's about it. How y'all doing?
Hello, I'm David McElroy. I'm just one of the workers. I help out. It's a blessing that I'm in a position to be able to do something that I like to do. I work with my hands. I like to assemble things. Country boy / city slicker. So, I got all the energy and I got the expertise behind doing the jobs that we've been doing. My story is extensive. I don't have really a lot of time for my story, but I've done a lot of time in penitentiary. I grew up in foster care, so I'm what you would consider a success story in itself, because of being able to come from where me and Shelton and my cousins came from and what we've experienced in life, and to be able to be out here and be fortunate enough to be doing work on our own, working for ourselves. We're independent. We work for ourselves. We have our own business. So this is all a blessing for me to be able to interact with you all, be able to make money at the same time. Thank you all.
Everybody cracking up laughing. Did you want to go ahead, plug McElroy?
Yeah, I mean, I just say like, due to like really racist systems, you heard a lot of people use the last name McElroy. We're relatives, and I think it would take a scientist to really understand like how racism and the criminal justice system has been able to plunder entire families. And my family's not unique. We could go door to door in a Black community in Louisville, and you find consistent that people get incarcerated, people get locked up, and that there's limited opportunity for anything else. And so what really we've teamed up to do is we've teamed up to create our own opportunity. We ain't gonna wait for nobody to give it to us because they ain't never gave it to us. They put us in schools that are dysfunctional. They over police our schools early in our lives. Every single one of us, we've been to boys camp. Just a straight trajectory to go into the criminal justice system. And we've been able to, through Black Lives Matter support, through Louisville Community Bail Fund, to create our own, man. We ain't asking for nothing free. We raise our hand. We say, hey, you need your leaves raked. We want your grass cut. You need doors installed, windows installed. We've gained a lot of skills from being in those unfortunate places, and them using our labor for free. And so now we're controlling our own labor and offering our services. And that's just part of what Jess mentioned in terms of support. If you bring somebody out and you don't give them nothing, no opportunity to fend for themselves, then it's going to be easy for people to go into underground market. And we've just been able to fend for ourselves, get out here, knock on doors. Hakeem, I don't know if he told you, he'll knock on somebody's door. Hey, you need the leaves blown, and just make it happen so that we not starving. We just trying to, keep clothes on our backs, food in our family stomachs, take care of our children, and keep it moving and help somebody. So every single man you saw on here, when people get released, if they want to jump in on our squad and help build stuff, help do work, hey, our hands out to them. Not nobody's left behind. And we just break bread together and try to figure out how to make resources to share amongst ourselves. So that's just an example of Black Lives Matter, Louisville Community Bail Fund, and all the hard work that everybody's been putting into this, man. Like, literally, you talking about a family of men that for a long time didn't know what it was like to be outside of imprisonment during holidays. And now, we walking into our households with our loved ones and we giving to people for the holidays. So, we just out here trying to make it. So thank y'all for all the hard work y'all done. And I'll let Rebecca or Michelle or Missy take it.
I'll jump in. I just want to say one of my favorite things about LCBF and this work is that, like, we are literally breaking people from the cycle of white supremacy, right? Like, when we pay bonds, especially high bonds, like 10,000 and up, we're freeing people that are not meant to be freed. We're assisting in ways that are not meant to be assisted. Like, we're building outside of white supremacy. And so it's this ability to build community that's outside of white supremacy. And when we're able to do that, and we do that under the leadership and the vision of folks that are most directly impacted, like Shelton and Jess and Chanel and the folks that we are bailing out. Like, when we do that, then we're building from this like truly radical place and head towards like true liberation. And that liberation obviously starts with Black liberation. And so that's like what we're fighting for. And so that, for me, is one of my favorite things about this, is that opportunity to build outside of the cycles of white supremacy, right? Like, we are dismantling it, but we also are, building the road as we walk it. So, what are you eating, Chanel?
Just listening to you speaking
Everybody
on
get
white
their
supremacy, I think like a big thing with the Black community is we focus on a whole lot of aspects that, even though they may be relevant, they're not that conditionally relevant. I'm saying white supremacy shouldn't even be relevant to us. We should be focusing on reconditioning Black inferiority. We've been perpetuated and conditioned to feel like we don't deserve certain things and we're not good enough for certain things. And the Black men don't feel like we can speak on hurt and pain and emotional situations, that cause depravity in our communities. I feel like and I understand definitely white supremacy is a major problem with the world. That's the world. But within Black Lives Matter and working on our conditioning and our people, we have to focus on Black inferiority. We cannot continue to feel inferior to other people. You know what I'm saying? That's what contains us. It keeps us in a box. It keeps us from being able to overstep the things that we've already been, put into a situation where we can't come out of. When you have inferiority complexes, you feel like you're not good enough. You cannot do this. You're not acceptable. You're not,
I know we're getting here like a liberation cipher. Right. I was doing that last night. All right, so check 1, 2. No, I'm just playing. I cannot freestyle whatsoever. But what I did want to say, because I was thinking about like what we're really talking about and how we make the jump from slavery to what this abolition movement means now. We have to remember that when you're talking about these folks in here and anybody that has bail on their back, all the system sees is the money. So you're looking at almost $225,000 at any given day, walking down the street, bagging up your groceries, fucking working on your car and shit. And so people aren't thinking that way, but the system is a $700 billion industry. It is not the government. That is making money. That is a corporation. So you have CEOs who sit at tables that don't ever see these folks making decisions for these folks. And then these folks can reach out to other CEOs in other industries. You've got the fast food restaurant where we know poverty folks work at, working poor folks work at. People who've had 3 different jobs at 3 different fast food restaurants, you are begging for $15. Like, let's remember that you're essential workers. When you get hungry, you get off work and you won't get something to eat, that's them. And so we're also talking about people who work at poverty stores, Dollar Generals, Family Dollars, who partake in, and I'm naming these folks specifically because we're making that relationship, correct? Who partake in funding private prisons. Your prisons are no longer governmental entities. They are very much the backbone and like playthings of people who make billions of dollars. Definitely look at this dog wants ice. Messing up the damn door. Anyway, attacking the door. The industry wants folks to be in a way that they stay broken, that they stay fucked up, that they stay inferior to whoever, anybody else. And you're hearing that from folks' mouths. Just because they don't have a degree or 3 letters behind their names or 4, doesn't mean they don't have the education of understanding what systems and dynamics actually do. They know more than anybody, especially with folks who have only stayed in a scholarly area. So that is the reason why we do most of the work that we do. I don't actually care about the number that is coming with them as we're talking about how much it is to bail them out. What I'm looking at is a tactic and a long strategy of preventing a system to make money continually off of Black folks, particularly because I'm a Black mother, I'm a Black woman, I have Black children who now my sole responsibility is so they don't get taken by the state. That's my notion. I'm not here because I know that they're going to do great and they're going to enter into college and it's going to be beautiful for them. That's not their likelihood. That's a challenge that I have to meet. And that's a challenge that I have to face and work more harder than these 3 white women on this call than anybody else. So I thank them for showing up for them, for these 4 Black men, as well as these Black mamas who are out here and Black queer folks serving people with support, developing plans that have been really just extraordinary and been very much beautiful to enfold every time that we meet up. And if you want to join us, you can do that. We have a working meeting every Sunday at 7 p.m., updating each other. I mean, we're talking to each other every day, but it feels great to just see each other from different squads. We're finishing up a bunch of uprising and just real critical raw ass data that keeps coming in daily, every day. And in a way, you know, I've had to think back on the year because we do that. We think back on this 365 and what it means to move from that number. But I know that my year won't even start until it becomes not necessarily March 13th, just because of the death of Breonna Taylor, but because that was when the day that the government decided that we needed to start shutting down for a failed pandemic response. And in that failed pandemic response were people who were sick, who couldn't move to work, but also entities who did not know how to do those things. And so if we're not talking about how the abolition of other systems, including the nonprofit industrial complex, doesn't mirror and support the prison industrial complex, then we're doing ourselves a disfavor when we're trying to connect and learn about what it means to dissolve the system. The build is a beautiful thing. We've built all of this, whether we wanted to or not, and we are always here to be able to do it. Those one of the things that I think about. The other thing I think about is, like what Dave said, that inferior complex and how it makes people scared. It makes people scared to know that they have power, and that power is greater than some of these governmental entities. They've utilized what people power can be and made it against what we know we already have. And those are 2 different things. One is just visioning out what our future can be, what I'm going to do for tomorrow, what I'll do in 3 months, things that we do just for our personal self-care or enjoyment. Other folks don't have that, but governments like to think that we don't deserve to even think like that. So that's why those are 2 different things. I also want to thank folks who have tried to destroy us. And I just think about like how trifling and how sick some people have to be to want to make sure that the folks who we've been supporting, but also the folks who have been building out, would ever be thinking that you were an enemy when we are seeing judges day in and day out, when we are hearing from prosecutors and lawyers, when we are looking at people who are willing to call the law on somebody else because they don't like them, or even folks who are using violence against each other because they cannot explain their existence in capitalism, to think that we would be focused on you, and we are not. This work is way greater than one person, and it has always been. And so what we do to make sure that our organizers and the people who want to move into organizing knowing is to build people power to abolish any type of system, is to stay focused on that. And I am just so thankful that people even rose to the occasion. People also, hell, some of them quit their fucking jobs to be here to make sure that this work got done, and the call to action for a global rebellion against white supremacy. I don't know if we need to end with that. I just felt like saying that because they just gave me the word to do it. I hate Jess for popping in here and acting like that. But I'm thankful because they put my dresses together right. I try to believe in the youth. We'll talk about the youth later. I love them, but I try to tell this boy the screws don't go inside; they go in the wood, not on the outside. So that's where we at. And I'm going to test them since I'm heavy. I'll send on the bitches and I'll see if they break because, but yes, anybody else, anything left to say? And then where do we want to present more of this work to?
So Rebecca, I don't know if you were going to mention this, but like Chanel said, we meet every Sunday night at 7, and it's really important for us to get together. And if you want to join us in this work, we can drop those links in the BLM and the LCBF pages. But there's also a phone number on top that you can get involved and get plugged in, and then you can join that meeting as a volunteer.
Absolutely. So you can definitely call and text the number. It's right down below. And then like, comment, share on all of our pages, and you'll make sure to get, to stay up to date. We have a court watch training coming up next week, next Friday at 4 o'clock, 4 to 6. If you're interested in court watch, we watch our judges, and we also sit in on our bailout, or folks that we have paid bails for. We sit in their courts, and sometimes, so we're watching all kinds of stuff. And then we will be doing a full LCBF training coming up in February, so stay tuned for that. And then we're going to keep this series going, and we're going to do another live in 2 weeks. We're going to do it every 2 weeks. So on the 15th at probably around 3 o'clock again, we'll cement that time. And we're going to be talking about we're going to be talking about prisons and policing in the U.S. as a history of anti-Blackness, very specifically in sort of what how prisons and policing even came about in this country, because I think sometimes we get into like the nitty-gritty of the foundation of things, it starts to really open up our eyes as to what's happening. So that's our topic for the next live, which will be January 15th at 3 o'clock right here on this Facebook page. And that's what we got. And definitely, if you're interested in getting involved, the phone number is right below. You can text and you can call it. And then I'll put our donation link in the comment section. And then if you are able to toss us a few dollars, that would be fantastic.
Oh yeah, I wanted to mention, you'll see a PayPal link. That PayPal link, and any other time anybody from LCBF throws up any link, it means that we have an immediate need for that type of support. And we're trying to make a way to get that support to folks a bit sooner. Tons of folks are actually homeless. So we've been having to move a lot of funds to get people housed. Thank you for funding even the eviction fund. Some people have been evicted, living with other folks. And it's just a downward spiral from there if you don't have the correct support. We also need food for folks. Lots of folks. Oh, whose phone is this? Is this it? I've been carrying the wrong damn phone around. Okay. All right. I thought it was mine. We're pitiful. So people live in a food apartheid here in West Louisville, but most of Black and Brown Louisville. Food has been moved away from us. I am sure, and even the white folks on this call know that there are other white folks who make sure in certain spaces, even next door and other little neighborly spaces, to tell people not to go eat at certain Black eateries and certain places. So the level of covert and overt racism is really huge here in Louisville. And we think that that's the other reason why a lot of folks made sure that they donated to us, but also our mutual aid coronavirus specific fund that's been moving food and other resources due to folks being hemmed up by coronavirus. So we thank y'all for donating to us and believing in us. We have very spectacular presentations coming just because we think they're cute, but also because it's just been awesome to just see this work transform and be able to complete some of the dreams that we've been able to complete and build for our people.
So we will see you all in 2 weeks here to continue the abolition lessons. And there are so many pieces of information that are going to be pushed out on these pages for you to learn with us and to participate in the discussion. Thank you for coming today. Bye.
Bye, y'all. Happy New Year's. Eat your greens and beans. Peas. Greens and peas, sorry.